What's most interesting about this electric vehicle idea with China is the fact that we put ourselves in lockstep with the Americans even prior to Donald Trump's reelection. The Americans were slapping 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, just affirming, because they had no definite way to prove it, that the Chinese were subsidizing illegally and that they had to be stopped. It was simply a question of market competition. The Chinese are able to produce high-quality electric vehicles that could be sold in Canada for something like 35 or 40,000 Canadian dollars, much less than most of the electric vehicles on the market now. And Canadians, consumers would benefit. But we put ourselves, as I say, we put ourselves in the same boat as the Americans, saying 100% tariffs, we're keeping you out effectively. You know, Tony, since this happened in Great Britain, the number one selling vehicles are Chinese electric vehicles. And is there any reason why Canada should be suffering the imposition of the tariffs by China on our agricultural products, including canola, of course? It's hurting our farmers. It's hurting us because taxpayers have to pay the subsidies to try to help those canola farmers.
This entire dispute didn't start in Beijing. It started in Ottawa. When, during our last government, Canada decided to follow the U.S. and impose a 100% tariff on Chinese EVs, Beijing retaliated with devastating precision, targeting Canadian canola exports, one of our most vital industries. And who paid the price? Not Washington, not the American auto industry. It was Canadian farmers, Canadian exporters, and Canadian consumers who ended up taking the hit. Tom Mulcair said it best. Canada keeps getting dragged into other people's trade wars, only to find itself bleeding economically. He called it a lose-lose situation, a reflex to mirror American policy rather than make our own. We call it what it really is, a self-inflicted wound.
And what did we get in return from the Americans for putting ourselves in lockstep with them, for backing them up on their 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles? We got slapped with our own tariffs. That's how Donald Trump plays the game. The Americans get something, and then they hit you over the head with it. Forget about it. I think that Canada would be very wise to start negotiating what China is putting on the table now. We keep talking about the fact that we've got to have new trading routes, new trading partners after what's happened with the Americans. We had the greatest trading relationship in the world, so of course, Donald Trump decided to break it. Fine. Let's deal with that reality, and let's build other relationships, including with China. I think that that would be the wisest move the Canadian government could do right now.
Let's look at what those tariffs achieved. China's tariffs on Canadian canola didn't just hurt exports. They collapsed prices, crushed margins, and sidelined thousands of farmers across the prairies. Meanwhile, Canada's ban on affordable Chinese EVs has left consumers stuck paying premium prices for vehicles that are far cheaper everywhere else. In the United Kingdom, Europe, and Australia, Chinese EVs are flooding the market, offering quality, efficiency, and price points that middle-class families can actually afford. Here in Canada, they're nowhere to be found. Why? Because our previous government chose politics over practicality. Mulcair pointed it out bluntly. The Americans got something and then hit us over the head with it. They used their leverage. We lost ours.
Tony, I think what we are seeing is everything is related right now. So you and I are talking about something that happened prior to Trump. We're paying a heavy price for putting ourselves on the same page as the Americans. For backing the Americans, we got hit over the head by Donald Trump once he did come into office. The Chinese are very smart business people, and they're very smart negotiators, and they understand this issue better than anybody in the world. And they're simply saying to us, look, your farmers are getting hit by this very hard. And do you want to continue with that? Or do you want to open up your market to our electric vehicles that would help your consumers and help your market? Trump is trying to clear out the Canadian automobile industry. Why do we keep saying that we're going to keep out these high-quality, inexpensive electric vehicles that, by the way, on top of everything else, are good for the environment? Why do we want to keep doing that and at the same time get hit by our canola exports when the Americans are giving nothing in return except grief and higher tariffs?
Now China is offering an off-ramp, a way out. The Chinese ambassador's statement is straightforward. Remove the EV tariff and we'll lift the canola restrictions. No strings, no threats. A reciprocal trade gesture, something that used to define diplomacy. Instead of letting Washington dictate who we trade with, Canada has a chance to reset its trade independence, to choose deals that work for Canadians first. The smartest move Canada could make, because it would show that Ottawa understands how to balance competition with cooperation. Nowhere has this trade war hit harder than on the prairies. Rick White, president of the Canadian Canola Growers Association, says farmers are living through the fallout every single day.
Can you talk to us a little bit about how devastating these tariffs have been on the industry?
Well, the damage is starting to show up now. Farmers are experiencing very low prices right now. They are just got the canola harvested for the most part. For the most part, it's in their bins. It's time to market that product now so that they can pay their bills and support their farm financially. And nothing is going to China, so the price is depressed. It's since these tariffs have come on, no grain or no canola has been going to China, whether it's seed, oil, or meal. And so the opportunity to market is very limited for farmers right now, and the price is low as a result. So it's not a good situation for them at this time of year.
We still haven't heard from the federal government about whether or not removing those EV tariffs is on the table. Have you heard anything from the federal government in recent days on this file?
Not in recent days, but we did meet with Prime Minister Carney, the canola industry, including our organization representing farmers. That was back on September 17th. And we talked about, we know what the problem with China was, and it was triggered by the EV tariffs.
Prices have dropped, storage bins are full, and shipping routes to China, Canada's single largest canola buyer, have gone silent. For years, canola was a Canadian success story, a crop that fed the world and strengthened